Mayor Lawrence, you're all good now.
Okay, good. So we've been called to order. Are there approvals or adjustments to the agenda? Is been distributed?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if we can please move item G, board appointments off of the consent agenda. And let's discuss those at the next town council meeting on February 23rd, please.
Mr. Mayor, if I
Um,
may, real quick, this is Scotty, the manager. We will need to announce who's speaking each time since we're on video and it being recorded that way. So Councilmember Young, if you will, state your name again and then just restate what you would like to do in that motion.
Yes, please. This is Jennifer Young, and I'm making a motion to take item 4G, which is on the consent agenda, the board appointments. And can we please table that until the next meeting on February 23rd?
are you good with that, Scotty?
Yes, sir. And then you'll need a roll call vote if you want to remove that from the agenda because everyone will have to be in favor of it, but you'll need individual roll call vote on it.
Okay. Is Tamara there to make a roll call?
I sure can. And
Would proceed, please.
Mayor Lawrence, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. And Councilmember Barnett,
Aye.
thank you. And Councilmember Young,
Aye.
thank you. Councilmember Nagel,
Aye.
thank you. Councilmember Vice Mayor Chase
Aye.
and Councilmember McGuire,
Aye.
thank you. And Councilmember Endries,
Aye.
thank you. The ayes have it. It's unanimous.
If there's no other discussion, I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda with that one amendment on the board adjustment.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 You
So
need
I'll call the
Tamara
roll
to
call
do the roll
again.
call once
Okay.
again.
We had a motion from Councilmember Young to approve the adjusted agenda. And Mayor Lawrence,
Aye.
thank you. And Councilmember Barnett,
Aye.
thank you. And Councilmember Young,
Aye.
thank you. And Councilmember Nagel,
Aye.
thank you. And Vice Mayor Chase,
Aye.
thank you. And Councilmember McGuire,
Aye.
thank you. And Councilmember Endries,
Aye.
thank you. That is unanimous.
Thank you very much. I read the conflict of interest statement now. It is the duty of the mayor and every town council member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflicts. Does any member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before town council tonight?
Mayor, this is Phil Barnett speaking.
Okay,
I'd like to enter into the record that Gould Killian CPA Group is our accountant and also apparently the town's auditor.
Yeah, Michael Frew here. I don't thank you for that, Councilman Barnett. I don't see that as a conflict, but that should be a part of the record, and I'm sure that Tamara has that. So I think we're good to go.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
any other comments on conflict of interest? None being heard, we'll move forward. Scotty, can you take us through the consent agenda, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This is Manager Harris, and I'll present you your consent agenda. But before we get into that, just for your rules of procedure tonight, when Travis is going to be presenting tonight for Golden Killian on the audit, however, he is involved in another meeting prior to this one, so he may be a few minutes late jumping on, depending on how long our discussion items take. So, but as soon as he jumps online, we'll make him the next presenter in this.
Just
Moving
let
on
us
with
know
your,
what we can do to accommodate that.
yes. Moving along with your consent agenda, on page 3, you have the December 9th, 2025 council workshop meeting minutes. On page 6, December 15th, town council regular meeting minutes. January 12th is on page 12 for your town council workshop meeting minutes. On page 14 is your monthly tax report, showing at this time we've collected 79.22% of the town's property taxes have been collected by the end of December. On page 22 is a budget amendment for your fire department, is in the amount of $232,500, which was was a insurance check received due to the damage from a fire on engine 8. That has been currently put towards the replacement of the engine on order from your public works department. Condition of annexation in January 25, Maple Trace subdivision paid the town $112,200 for street paving. That project has begun, so those funds need to be transferred from the escrow account into the streets budget. Then the town, and for your, the town has received a grant for funds of $35,000 in December of 25 from the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina Pigeon River Fund. Those funds are spent on the Nature Park, stormwater, and stream bank stabilization project. The town has collected $3,304.59 in the Cops for Kids donation during December 25 and January 26, bringing the fiscal year to date of $7,237.90. The town received a donation from the public totaling $50 for the community center and $100 for the fire department. So those budget amendments are attached. Moving along to page 22, or correction, 25 for your meeting schedule. Attached is the council meeting where you took action at your December 15th meeting to change the monthly meeting schedule to the workshops on the second Monday and the regular meeting on the fourth Monday, except for holidays conflict. So moving along, you skipped, you moved G 28 from your agenda. So moving along to page 31 is your rules for procedure. On September 2nd of 25, the planning board adopted an amendment to its list of rules of procedures, which changed its normal regular meetings to the first Monday of the month at 4 p.m. On January 12th of 26, the Board of Adjustments approved amendments to its rules of procedures to shift from monthly meetings, which have been needed in several years, and adopt a quarterly meeting schedule with a meeting to occur on the first Monday in January, April, July, and October at 6 p.m. Moving along to page 33, your the water treatment resiliency project change order 1. TP Howard has been working with the water treatment plant on the resiliency project that included the installation of the backup generator at the wall water intake and the chlorine gas conversion. The proposed change order 1 to add a needed manhole and to increase the testing allowance. These changes will add $12,681, but not to extend out a substantial completion date of May 9th of 2026. Myself, as the manager, the public works director, recommended that council approve that. Mr. Mayor, at this point in time, we would need a roll call vote to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Hammer, can you accommodate us with the roll call, please?
So we have a motion to accept the consent agenda from,
We need to get who made that motion.
Andrew Nagel.
thank you. Mayor Lawrence, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Barnett,
Aye.
Councilmember Young,
Aye.
Councilmember Nagel,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Chase,
Aye.
Councilmember McGuire,
Aye.
and Councilmember Endries.
Aye.
Thank you. Passes unanimously.
Very good. Thank you so much. I think the next thing that we have on the agenda is the general public comments. Excuse me,
We have town manager's report.
the town manager's report. Okay,
Yes, sir.
stand corrected. Town manager's report.
Mr. Mayor and Council, before I move into your manager's report, this is Scotty speaking again, but just to, I've received a text that Travis is on, so we will proceed in order when we get to the discussion items that he will be online to be able to give you that report out and once you get to discussion. So moving along with your manager's report, just as a reminder for the community and those visiting our Lake Louise parks, that even though it may appear frozen over, we do not encourage you to be walking on the ice and please stay off of that for safety reasons. Our Helene local related grant funds to cover unreimbursable portions of the cost of the repairs to the wall water pump station at the water treatment plant. Looking at something we started last quarter, what we're calling community conversations with the manager. I'll be holding that on our second one on February 17th at 6 p.m. in our community room at Town Hall. It's meant to provide an important engagement with our community and an opportunity for open dialogue discussion. We had some good feedback from that last time and trying to continue that on a quarterly basis. Giving you an update on our Duke Energy project. Duke is strengthening the electrical grid in the Weaverville area to make it more resistant to severe storm weather and helping restore power outages faster. We expect them to start work in our downtown area. They had planned to start today, but due to a backlog and power outages and the storm in itself, they weren't able to start on the 2nd, but they do have a goal of completion of mid-April. The construction is scheduled, not set yet, but we do expect most of the construction work, 75 to 80%, will take place during the daytime. However, some general expectations that there will be overnight outages, approximately 8 to 10 hours per week, as the crews solidify their work plan. They will be in touch to provide more details as that our downtown businesses. And we've worked with them on reviewing the noise ordinance, taking into account the economic impact of power outages. We found it best to do some evening work so that outages mostly occur during overnight hours while businesses are closed, so the revenue loss and traffic impacts are minimized. Some of the key details impacting Weaverville downtown is the timeline and expectations. It's early February through mid-April. The major work will be on Main Street and additional work on Church Street, North College Street, and Central Avenue. The expected impacts of potential traffic impacts in the work area, large equipment on site for single lane closures, potential impacts to parking, potential impacts to sidewalks, and temporary traffic flow changes. Our tree inventory and assessment report. The Davy Group completed their tree inventory and assessment on the trees located in town property and the town right-of-ways. The Davy Group will provide a comprehensive and lengthy presentation to the town tree board at their meeting on March the 4th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers community room at Town Hall. This tree board meeting is open to the public, and staff plans to record the presentations so that anyone unable to attend can view it. The Davy Group does have a report on the town's website under tree board information. For our budget calendar for 26-27, in your package, you got attached is the budget calendar that has been adopted for developing and approving the budget for fiscal years 26-27. On a training note, on January 15th and 16th, myself, along with council members Barnett, Young, and Indries, attended UNC School of Government's Essentials for Municipal Government class. We also hosted an on-site instructor on January 20th, 21st, and 22nd to provide what's considered DISC training, dominance, influence, steadiness, and consistency training for our staff along with council members. This professional development training focused on communications, conflict resolution, and building stronger working relationships. The North Carolina League of Municipalities, as part of their Advancing Municipal Leaders Program, I've been awarded a certificate in municipal excellence and will be recognized at the League City Vision Conference being held in Raleigh on May the 5th through the 7th. Proposed new residential zoning districts. The planning board recommended that council consider creating 2 new residential zoning districts for single-family residential development on smaller lots, R6 and R10. This topic will be placed on council's workshop, and a joint meeting with the planning board is scheduled for February 9th of 26. My insurance service office, the ISO inspection. The fire department will have members from the Office of State Fire Marshal on site in February conducting their insurance rating inspection. Insurance companies use the ISO rating to determine property insurance costs. The town's last rating was issued in March of 21, where they were determined to be a Class 2 rating in town. For your countywide fire district, there's been continuous meetings ongoing with the county fire chiefs. Last week, we had a meeting with the county that included board chairs as well as the town manager from municipalities and incorporated departments. Councilmember Young attended that meeting with me. It's been mentioned at several of our meetings moving forward with a single wide tax district that will impact our North Buxton Fire District tax revenue. The new contract will discuss pay, urban, suburban, and rural response expectations with the number of personnel to arrive and the timeframes. For the emergency response force, ERF, it's 22 personnel arriving within 10 minutes, 80% of the time. You'll see the notes in your packets where I list 12 minutes, but that is allowing for turnout time from dispatch. But so for your en route time, the expectation in the contract is 10 minutes, 80 percentile with 22 personnel arriving on scene. So they're still working to finalize contract details that will apply to our North Buncombe district. And again, as I mentioned, Councilmember Young attended the meeting that the county manager presented information to us on. That meeting was held last week on the 29th. Our butterfly trail installation project, previous council approved moving forward with that project. It's the installation of the butterfly sculpture and educational kiosk, which is taking place in the clock lot. Some of you may have noticed some construction taking place, so we're putting down pavers in that lot. As you're facing the clock, the butterfly kiosk will go to the right side of that of the clock itself in that corner. The lot, as part of the butterfly trail, expect to happen sometime during the month of February, if this weather will cooperate with us. But serviceberry trees will be planted as well to support the red spotted purple butterfly that will be featured and is Weaverville's newest location in its coming weeks. A water line replacement project on Stony Knob. The town is contracted for that replacement of stormwater lines in the Stony Knob area, and that project schedule with completion is expected in about a month. The stormwater project on Lake Louise Drive, the completion of the stormwater project will be slightly delayed due to is repaired. Your public safety facility fire hydrant repair, public works crews recently assisted in the repair of fire hydrants at the county's public safety facility. The public safety facility serves as a training ground for firefighters, and the availability of fully functional hydrants is an important part of the training. This will be an ongoing relationship between Weaverville staff and the county, making sure that the public safety facility is operating as it should. And again, that's a contract we have with the county to be able to provide that service. We did in the contract explain to them that service to our residents would take priority, and then our crews, if any repairs were needed on the training grounds, that they would work that into schedule once our needs were met within the town. For a reminder on upcoming events, the planning board meeting for February 2nd was postponed, I believe. And then our February 9th council meeting for the regular workshop is scheduled to be a joint meeting and planning board. February 17th, we have the manager's community conversation event in town hall in the community room at 6 p.m. And then on February 23rd is our town council regular workshop meeting. And that concludes your manager's report, Mr. Mayor and council.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager. So I think at this point, we have their general public comments.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I will read into the record the public comments that we received online. We've also checked the drop-off boxes around Town Hall. There are none there. I believe you're going to also check with the public who may wish to speak online here with us, but for the record, we received, these were also sent to town council members. We received from Bob and Deb Davis. Hello, we are relatively new residents in the town, 3.5 years. We moved here for a number of reasons. Numbered among them was the beautiful tree cover, particularly along the main street. Obviously, everyone got whacked by Helene, nothing to prevent or stop that. But now we keep seeing trees being cut down all over town for no discernible reason. Today we saw yet another beautiful old tree being cut down at the corner of Main and Hamburg Mountain Road. If this is a reaction to Helene to prevent further tree falling, the horse is already way out of the barn. Our question is, are you ever going to stop cutting down our beautiful tree cover? The next from Steve Nash. Hello, I am confused as to why many of the town's roads have been plowed, but South Main Street has been notably ignored. The schools have plowed parking lots, but South Main is covered with packed snow, likely to freeze overnight. Why were these roads not cleared? Whose responsibility is that? I don't see how schools opening tomorrow with the roads uncleared. This is from CM. Excuse me, Kay McPam. Good evening. Oh, sorry, says it in the body. This is Keith McCurry. I just wanted to let town council know of the situation that took place on January 21st and 22nd on our property. On Wednesday morning, January 21st, Duke Energy contractors cut a road into my property from the 10 Silverwood Farm Road property to connect to Ray Holler Road, which is my family's private driveway. This road was done on my property without notification, permission, or easement signed. When questioned why this is being done, the Duke contractor stated that the landowner developer of 10 Silverwood Farm Road did not want the permanent access road to the new switch station that was built on the 10 Silverwood Farm Road property to go through the development that is being proposed. Again, this was done without notification, permission, or easement signed. They are trespassed on my property without any due process. This road is now completed. We are seeking legal counsel on this matter. And the last from Nancy Waldrop to Mayor Lawrence, members of the council and staff. Thank you for all you have done during the recent snowstorm and winter weather to make sure our streets were in the best condition possible, both before the bad weather hit and in its aftermath. It is a reassuring sight to see those trucks coming through the neighborhood at 5 a.m. in the morning to allow residents to get out safely as quickly as possible. Your efforts and good work are greatly appreciated. That is all that was received.
Thank you very much. Are there any residents locally that would like to speak at this time?
Mayor Lawrence, I think if they raise their hand and the co-host can see that they are wishing to speak.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm not sure how to do this.
Mr. Dame?
Okay, all right. So you do hear me. Thank you. I wasn't certain that you did.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, good. Now we have questions on Code Red. It's in existence, but we have got, and we're signed up for it, but we have gotten no alerts for weather, anything going on, and we're just not certain if it's working correctly.
Mr. Dane, this is Councilwoman Young. It's my understanding that Code Red is down. I think there was some type of cyber attack into that system, and it has not been working since just before the ice storm.
Okay. All right. But even earlier, we were not receiving things that normally we would have expected might have been Code Red items.
I don't know when that system went down, but I know that before the ice storm, it was down. I don't know that it is back up, but I appreciate your concern, and hopefully we can get that back up soon.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. Excuse me, anyone else like to speak?
Sorry, Mayor, may I just request that that citizen contact me directly because our system is working for Code Red and I don't see him in as a contact in our system. So if he would just contact me, thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank
It's
you.
in my.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's in my wife's name, so we'll check with you anyway.
Thank
All right. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Tamara. Appreciate that. All right, any further comments? None being heard, nor hands being raised. Scotty, are you ready to go to the financial audit presentation at this time?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Travis is online and is due up on the first item of discussion action.
So proceed when you're ready.
Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay?
So far, so good.
All right. Well, good deal. My name is Travis Keever with Gould Killian CPA Group. Appreciate the opportunity to present the audit tonight. We've been the town auditors for Weaverville for a number of years now, and we appreciate the relationship we've had with the town. Start off by thanking Tanya and the staff of the finance department for their hard work and cooperation in completing the audit. And if we could go ahead and move to the first slide there, whoever's controlling that. The audit process every year becomes more and more arduous, and they're always super responsive in getting us the documentation we need, answering questions and so forth to make it as smooth a process as possible. I'll spend a lot of my time focusing on the reports that we issue, and then we'll hit just a couple of financial highlights. On December the 31st, 2025, we issued an unmodified or a clean opinion on the town's June 30, 2025 financial statements. This means that we believe that the town's financial statements are fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. This is known as a clean opinion. We're also required under governmental auditing standards to issue what's known as a yellow book report. This is specific to governmental entities, and it requires us to review the town's internal controls over financial reporting and its compliance with laws and regulations. And we don't perform a full internal control audit. Rather, we assess the town's internal controls that are most impactful to the numbers in the financial statements. We do this in a number of ways. We test a sample of expenditures to make sure that purchase order policies, approval requirements, and things of that nature are followed, and the budgetary authority exists for a given expenditure. We test a sample of payroll expenditures to make sure that employees are being paid for the hours that their supervisor approved at the rate that they're supposed to be paid at based on the town's process. We also review numerous aspects of the town's year-end and month-end close process to ensure that documentary evidence exists to support amounts in the town's financial system. And we review key terms of the Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act to make sure that the town is following that and doing everything they're supposed to in that regard. The result of all this work is that we noted no material weaknesses in internal control over financial reporting, and we reported no instances of material noncompliance with laws and regulations. So that's a clean yellow book report to go along with the clean financial statement opinion. We also in FY25 were required to perform what's known as a single audit or a compliance audit over the FEMA funding received on the almost $2 million of FEMA expenditures, FEMA reimbursable expenditures that the town incurred in FY25. And no findings were noted in that process either. So just at a high level, clean opinion on the financial statements, no internal control findings, and a clean single audit on the FEMA funding. So sort of at a top level, that's the best report we can give from purely a results standpoint. So if we can move ahead to the next slide, please. A few years ago, the Local Government Commission started a program where they set a series of benchmarks or key performance indicators to give them a mechanism to look for red flags in town and city's finances and to have those reported back to the governing board. Basically, at the end of every audit, I enter the town's financial statement data into an online tool that they have. It compares that financial statement data against their benchmarks and returns any of those benchmarks or indicators that kind of fall outside of the levels that they've set. In this case, you guys have one of those in FY25. It's the same one you've had the last couple of years, to be honest. This one's we'll chalk this one up to just kind of it is what it is. Water and sewer fund assets of the town are approximately 50% depreciated. In the LGC's view, this can be indicative of significant capital needs related to water and sewer infrastructure in the near future. We know that you all already know that and are planning for that and have a couple of big water and sewer infrastructure projects in the works as we speak. But until some of those come online, this will continue to be a financial performance indicator of concern each year going forward. So probably the same letter that the council submitted back to the LGC the last couple of years will suffice again for this year. And we can just move on from that. So this next slide is a pie chart showing general fund revenues. Like most municipalities in the state, the biggest chunk of the revenue in the town comes from ad valorem taxes. It's 53% of your revenue, a little over $4.5 million. You also get local option sales tax to the tune of just a little bit over $2 million, or 23% of revenue. So you combine those two revenue sources, that's about 76% of general fund revenue, which is pretty consistent with what you see in other similar sized municipalities in the state. Unrestricted intergovernmental revenue, which is state or federal money that's other than sales tax, essentially, is $950,000 or 11%. And then the other category, which the biggest chunk of that is North Buncombe Fire District tax funding received from Buncombe County, as well as investment earnings, makes up the other 1.1 million in the purple slice there. This next slide shows a comparison of those same revenue categories year over year. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot to talk about there. Pretty much all those revenue categories were flat from FY24 to 25. So no real big changes there. The next slide is that same pie chart, just from an expenditure standpoint. Again, like you would expect to see in a town the size of Weaverville, public safety is kind of the big ticket item in the general fund. In Weaverville's general fund, public safety is just the police department. Is what's reported in there. The fire department's in its own separate fund. Then you've got general government at 1.6 million, or about 20% of total expenditures. And again, that covers all of your administrative departments, finance, legal, IT, administration, governing board expenses, that sort of thing. Sanitation and stormwater make up about 1.3 million in expense, or about 17%. And then the other category in this case is primarily streets and recreation, comes in at 1.5 million, or about 19%. And then this bar chart shows this year over year comparison. You see two categories really had kind of a significant change from 25 to 24. Police department expenditures were up about $400,000 or a little bit more in FY25. Had some kind of across the board increases in health insurance and retirement costs, along with a good bit of overtime that was paid out as part of the response to Hurricane Helene. So that appears to be the reasoning for that increase. And then in the other category, that decrease by a little over $500,000 from 24 to 25. There was a significant amount of capital expenditure in FY24 in the street department, some larger paving projects in 24, whereas the amount of that occurred in FY25 was quite a bit less. So that's the reason for the decrease there. Okay, the next slide shows kind of a 3-year trend of the town's fund balance and available fund balance. The difference in those two, so the town's total fund balance at June 30, 2025 was 6.7 million. Available fund balance is 5.6. The local government commission, the state cares way more about available fund balance. That number is essentially the cash that you have in the bank at June 30, 2025, minus your accounts payable. There's a couple of other small numbers in there, but generally speaking, it's cash minus the bills you haven't paid yet is your available fund balance. They consider that to be an accurate representation of what the board actually has at its disposal at June 30th. So that's the number they use for all of their benchmarks. And one metric that they really like is taking that available fund balance and comparing that to total general fund expenditures on a percentage basis. If you flip to the next slide, you'll see that shown here. The town of Weaverville actually has a board policy that's to target 40%, have an available fund balance equal to 40% of general fund expenditures with a 20% minimum. You guys are right about 60% now, which is kind of in line with all other municipalities in the state. Of course, that's come down a little bit with some planned expenditures over the last couple of years. And of course, your population group for the town is in the neighborhood of about 85%. And the next slide shows some kind of selected statistics from the enterprise fund, the water and sewer fund from 25 to 24. Working capital, which is current assets over current liabilities, that increased slightly from 7 million to almost 7.3 million at June 30, 2025. You've got just shy of 3 years, about 2 years and 9 months worth of expenditures in working capital. So there's a good cushion in there for any kind of emergency expenditures that come up. Your unrestricted net position in that fund, which would be equivalent to that fund's fund balance or retained earnings in the for-profit world, is just shy of $7 million. So again, that kind of reflects a good cushion in that fund. Operating income for the year of $551,000. Actually, the water and sewer operation itself generated positive income. That's good. That money can be used for debt service, reinvestment into capital expenditures or what have you. Change in net position, which would be the overall net income of the fund, was just about $700,000 in FY25. That's down from $1.8 million in 2024. The 2024 numbers skewed a bit. There was about $1.2 million that was of town's ARPA money that was transferred into the water and sewer fund in FY24, which kind of inflated those results last year. Cash flows from operating activities. Again, the water and sewer fund generated about $1.2 million of positive cash flow, which again can be used for future capital, debt service, what have you. And then a net increase of cash in 2025 of $455,000. Again, the 2024 numbers skewed a little bit by $1.2 million of ARPA money that was transferred in to that fund during the year. And then the final slide that I have, some selected statistics related to property taxes. Not a whole lot to talk about on this one. Again, the tax rate's held steady for the last 3 years. We've not had a revaluation in a couple of years. So the current year collections have got a steady tax rate, kind of your normal organic growth in the tax base. That means current year collections have kind of ticked up at a moderate growth rate each year. And then the collection rate has held steady, been above 99, right around 99.9% every year. So it can't get a whole lot better than that. And I believe that is all I have. I'm happy to take questions if anybody has any. But otherwise, we appreciate being able to serve as the town's auditor again this year.
Thank you, Mr. Keever.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask a question when appropriate. This is Andrew Nagel.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you, Mayor. So I don't know if you go back to the general fund balance slide, Travis. I haven't been on council, so just was a little surprised at the change, that slide right there. So I guess in 23, we were at 121% of net expenditures, and now we're at 60. So that's and within, I think that's a 2 years. So, just don't know. I'm not sure it comes up in the audit of, where do we spend all that money? But that maybe this may not be the right time.
Well, I think for just the math that goes into that formula, if you look at the slide previous to that, you can see that the overall fund balance number has gone down. Expenditures have gone up in those 3 years with some planned expenditures, which essentially, if you're looking at available fund balance over expenditures, it kind of makes the denominator in that formula higher. So
Right.
when expenditures go up, it sort of has an outsized impact.
Sure.
I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Go up, right? Expenditures went up, and the fund balance went down by $2 million.
Right. So you're kind of getting hit from both directions as far as that formula goes. I'll be honest with you, Andrew. I don't remember right offhand what's caused those decreases over the last couple of years. I'm sure Tanya could answer that.
Yeah, and like I said, it may be a better time. I'm just trying to do the percent real quick, and I don't think I did it right on my calculator. But $2 million on 7.6. That's 20%, maybe 25. I don't know. I don't have a proper calculator on me. Yeah, so we may, as a new council, just something to look at. Second thing, and I don't know if everybody knows it, but ad valorem tax, for everybody who's listening, that's our property tax, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just a clarification on that. Just, we might have some viewers that don't know that terminology. That's the property tax.
Sure.
Yep. Thank you. And final question, because I greatly appreciate the audit on the workers and making sure they're paid right. We're a very small town, so I don't think it would have come up. But on big towns, and could be easy to have somebody on payroll that actually doesn't work for the town. So in your audit process, is there any verification that everybody on payroll actually there's nobody fake there, that they're real people that work for the town?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've actually ran across that in my career before, with a fake employee being paid. You are correct. In a town the size of Weaverville, each position is kind of budgeted specifically, so it would be a little bit harder to run a fake employee through payroll all year long without it coming up.
I would hope so.
Yeah, but yeah, as part of the payroll test that we do, we don't do all employees. We select a sample of employees, but with that, we actually get the personnel file, look at the copies of the identification, the I-9, that sort of thing. So we do some procedures to verify that the town's at least gone through the minimum effort to get there's at least a file exists. We don't bring people in and fingerprint them or anything like that, but we at least make sure they got a copy of the driver's license and things of that nature.
All right. Well, thank you. And this is the most casual I've ever seen you dressed. You're usually in a suit or something. It's
a snow day, man. What can I say?
Well, I appreciate you and the number of years you've been doing this for the town. So thank you, Travis.
Yes, sir. Good to see you back on council.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Are there any other questions for Travis?
I just have a question just to make sure I'm interpreting some of these charts correctly. On 62 and 64, they're the general fund summaries. Is it correct to, like, if I add those up, that's our total revenue, like on 62, that's the total revenue the town brings in if I add all those numbers up together?
That was Mark Andrews talking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Mark Andrews, town council.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me get to that.
Yeah.
Hey, which page? You're talking about 62, my presentation there. Yes, if you add those numbers up on the pie chart, that will agree to the total general fund revenue shown in the financial statement. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And then I guess on 66, I added that, the general fund summary up, and I don't see where that number exists in 66. I guess I'm interpreting that incorrectly.
66. So if you have the financial statement in front of you, it's page 30 on the financial statements.
Okay.
Shows the total fund balance of 6,752,029 at the bottom of the page there. The available fund balance is sort of quote unquote off to the side calculation that doesn't actually show up in the financial statements anymore. It's more just used for benchmarking purposes by the local government commission.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anybody? Okay, well, thank you so very much for the review of the audit. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
You too. Okay. The next item on the list is a water request from 10 Silverwood Farm. It's got your name beside it, Scotty.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Council Manager Harris again with bringing to you tonight a water request for 10 Silverwood Farm for LDG. On November 5th of 25, the town received a water commitment extension request that was submitted for the development of 10 Silverwood Farms, property identified as Belmont. Their request indicated that proposed development on the property would consist of 17 multifamily apartments, 24 units per building, 180 residential subdivision lots, and commercial component. They requested domestic water service for the units totaling approximately 118,470 gallons per day. Based on our review, it was determined that our water system has adequate capacity to serve this connection. The annexation petition for the property has been withdrawn, but the owner and developer is willing to annex the property into the town if that is a condition of water approval. The town attorney, myself as the manager and the public works director, are recommending approval for this application. If we could get a roll call and a motion, how you would like to proceed.
Do I hear a motion on this action item?
Do we, can we, before we do that, Mayor, can we have just two seconds of discussion?
Sure.
Thank you, sir. So this is got pushed from the previous meeting, and I think we all were in communication with the powers that be, and this question really is for Mr. Frew. It is my understanding after conversations with you that based on the USDA loan, we don't have a choice. Is that your interpretation?
Based on the material I've heard that staff has collected to determine whether or not it's feasible, the test for the case law that I have indicated would suggest that test would be, is it feasible in terms of engineering and economics? And I have heard nothing to the contrary, so I think that it is a go.
And we have plenty, we know we have, so feasible, and then we have the capacity.
That's my understanding.
And we're voting on this because that's a state stat. We have to vote on it. Like the loan says
I can't make you vote on it, but the same
Right.
statute that says that council members, elected council members, have a duty and obligation to vote. Down in the same section, it says if you fail to vote, these are the consequences. So in this sense, it's a remote meeting, so it counts as being physically, personally present.
But we have, as a council, we have to approve it. I mean, the USDA loan and all that is saying you kind of got to do it, but the steps that are required by the ordinances or the laws say we actually do have to take a vote and say, pass it, right? It's not just, it doesn't just happen by de facto because of that loan, right? We have to take that step of approving this motion.
Yeah, the council's actions for a vote are separate from the USDA requirements.
Yeah, it's almost conflicting in my brain to go, we really don't have a choice based on this USDA loan and the constraints of that, and it fits in with the feasible and and we have capacity. And you go, okay, just do it. Why are we voting on it? Because if we vote no, then we have consequences to the voting of the no.
Well, that's correct.
Okay.
Jennifer, I saw you raising your hand. Do you want to add anything?
No, thank you. That was covered.
Okay. So do I hear a motion?
So moved. This is Councilman Barnett.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Barnett, all in favor, say aye.
I think we got to do a roll call, Mayor.
Roll call. I'm sorry.
Hey, Tamara, let me go last, please.
So We have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Barnett to approve 10 Silverwood Farm Road water commitment. Mayor Lawrence?
Aye.
Vote. And Councilmember Barnett
Aye.
and Councilmember Young
Only because of the USDA loan stipulation, it is an aye.
and Vice Mayor Chase
Aye.
and Councilmember McGuire
Aye.
and Councilmember Endries
Yeah, as a result of the requirements of the USDA loan, aye.
and Councilmember Nagel.
Thank you for letting me go last. No.
And the ayes have it, 6-1.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is 830 New Stock Road. Public Works Director Reese, here to speak on this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
We'll figure out how to turn my video on. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. You have in front of you a request for 830 New Stock Road. We received a water commitment application for a proposed single-family residential subdivision on approximately 58 acres at 830 New Stock Road. The application requests 45,600 gallons per day to serve 114 residential lots. The property is in the unincorporated area of Buncombe County and approximately is a half mile from the town's municipal borders. An annexation petition has not been submitted, but the property owner may be willing to submit one should the council wish it to do so as a condition of the water commitment. A water line extension will be needed to provide water to this property and through the subdivision. The request is brought to Town Council pursuant to Code Section 30-79, which requires Town Council approval on any extensions to the water system. I have reviewed the request and found that at this time there is sufficient capacity within the town's water system to accommodate this request without any adverse effects on the service to the town's current water customers. And based on this application, town code provisions, town obligations to USDA, and the recent history of action taken regarding water, Town Council could take either of the following actions. You could grant the water commitment request, or you could grant the water commitment request conditioned upon annexation into the town and development approvals of the project by the town. Town staff will be available tonight to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. I'm sure there are going to be some questions. Who would like to go first?
This is Councilwoman Young. I do have a question. If we do annex this property, Mr. Eller, could you tell me the percentage of non-contiguous land that we would be bringing this up to in our 10% cap, please?
Unfortunately, I can't answer that with any precision. I can tell you that when we were running the numbers once Maple Trace was annexed, and in anticipation of the 10 Silverwood Farm project that is now no longer under consideration for annexation, we were up around 9. This satellite annexation is nowhere near the size of 10 Silverwood Farm. I would anticipate that we're probably anywhere between 5 and 7%, should Town Council wish to pursue the annexation of this satellite parcel.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Endries?
Yeah,
See your hand
Councilmember
up?
Endries, I realize we probably don't have any kind of site plans or anything like that, but I guess given the number of lots and the acreage of the property, I'm guesstimating that these are roughly half-acre lot parcels. If there's any clarification on what kind of parcel sizes would be, I guess I'm considering if we want to annex the property in, if this would be an R1 annexation. Also, I'm curious if annexation is considered any kind of input from Public Works on their excitement or non-excitement about this property, given its location and its disconnectedness from the rest of town.
I believe that Public Works has the capacity to service this property. It is a half a mile outside of the town limits. The reality is the town is growing, and once other properties come online in that area, it's likely maybe that will annex others. I'm not sure, but I have no concerns with being able to service this subdivision. They're expecting, I believe, if I recall, they were projecting it about a year out. So that's a pretty quick build. Probably realistically a year and a half or two. But it's 117 single family homes.
Do we know the lot size?
Councilmember Andrews, if I can inject myself into this portion of the conversation, I'll note that Manager Harris, Assistant Manager Jackson, Director Reese, and myself have met with these applicants. We did not have anything specific to a site plan or what sort of zoning designation that they would seek if annexation was required. But you are correct, based upon the size of the property and the number of lots that they are asking for. They are approximately half-acre lots. There was a tremendous amount of conversation on the water infrastructure improvements that would need to be made to serve this project, and even more so would be the sewer system. Providing sewer to this property is a little bit complicated. I'll leave those, details to our friends at MSD, but it's my understanding, based upon our last conversation with the applicant, that they would be seeking water, but not sewer. The result of that would be increased lot sizes for septic systems to serve individual lots.
Andrew Nagel here. Quick question, I guess maybe for Director Reese. The water line extension will be needed to provide water. Who pays for that water line extension?
That was part of our discussion with the developers. That is a cost bore to them.
Okay, so it's their responsibility to pay for it from whatever our closest. And I think I don't remember what you said, how close the water is, but they gotta pay for it from wherever our water is, which should be near there because of the Monticello apartments that are just being built. So it can't be too far.
I don't recall exactly how far, but it was pretty far. There were talks about ways that they could approach that, maybe partnering with some other owners on that stretch of road. But it was a definite no from the town that cost is borne to them.
Perfect.
This is Councilmember Andrews. I just roughly sketched the distance from where the water network currently stops. If it runs down Monticello and then up New Stock, it's approximately 0.35 miles. So it's more than a quarter mile of an extension. Just FYI to everybody.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Chase, I saw your hand up.
Yes, my questions did get answered, and that was how far away is the nearest water line and who is paying for it, and I believe that's been covered. Thank you.
Any other questions on this matter?
Yeah, how do you raise your hand so I just don't butt in? I'm looking at the new law down there and go, I don't see where to raise my hand, but I can figure that out later, I guess.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, this is Jennifer Young. I do have a question. I know that with another property that was under consideration for annexation with the last council, there was quite a bit of concern from the police department and the fire department, were there any concerns about the load that that's going to have to impact their work on this property?
If I can jump in here, staff has not, since we don't have an annexation petition yet, we have not done a full staff report. If you do decide to condition water on annexation, all of those reports will be provided to you.
Great, thank you.
Mr.
This
Andres,
Mayor, this is Councilmember Barnett. I have a question for Director Eller. According to the units predicted, this development would host 117 private septic tanks. Do we have any feeling for the operation of that number on any other developments around the parcel?
So as it relates to our development regulations, the only way we speak to septic systems is that in the event that public sewer connection is not available, it adds to your minimum lot area. And that's specific to the amount of property it takes to provide for the septic system. These septic systems are reviewed, approved, and administered through Buncombe County Environmental Health and have been for my entire career. I'm afraid I can't speak to them directly because of that. I've always said go speak to environmental health. Hopefully that answers some of your question. Could you remind me your last statement, please?
Yeah, no, I was just curious with that number of private septic units in this parcel. I was just curious if we had any sense for any environmental impact on nearby. I'm sure there are probably wells nearby, but other developments, and it doesn't, at least from the map, it doesn't look like that would be a problem. But I do see some abutment to established residences.
I think even if by accident my answer would be the same, I would like to hope and imagine that our friends at Buncombe County Environmental Health would take into account all neighboring septic system, wells, private water systems, but that is administered through the county rather than the town.
I see. Thank you.
Mr. Andres?
Councilmember Andrews, just maybe a question to James or those who met with the developers. On one sort of corner of the property, there looks to be a intact forested area. Was there any discussion on protection or preservation of that forested area, or did your conversation not touch on that?
I welcome the correction of others if they remember things differently than I, but again, we didn't have any site plans. We just had an acreage count and a lot count. This is speculation on my part, but hopefully not reckless. In order to get the number of lots that are being requested, as well as increased minimum lot areas for private septic systems, it is likely that the forest that is shown on the map will be impacted to some degree. To what degree, I don't know. I haven't seen a site plan for the project as a whole.
Thank you.
Mr. Nagel?
Thank you, Mayor. Mark, I agree with what James just said. I just had a septic put in, and there's setbacks, and it's got to be 500 or 50 feet from this, 100 feet from that. You got to draw the rivers and existing, and that group sure isn't going to let them do anything. Getting septic permit is not easy. They err on the side of being a pain in the rear end. With that, I don't know the acreage, but I tend to agree with James. The forest would probably be gone, because that's why they're looking at half-acre lot sizes, because you can't put a septic on a quarter-acre lot. My second statement or question was, when I was previously on council, I was very against taking in roads in cul-de-sacs and neighborhoods dead ending. So, previous, we go back 6-8 years ago, we always wanted to talk about roads at the same time as water. Typically the roads are an afterthought. So, I don't know if that was discussed, but if we do annex them, and the revenue would be good, but I would not be in favor of annexing them and taking in their roads. So just throwing that out there as something else. I mean, I think we just found out we got to give them the water, right? So it becomes water, and they don't even have to ask to be annexed, right? We have to give them water. This is almost got to have to be a negotiation or discussion. We have to give them the water. We don't have, they don't have to be annexed. We can't force them to annex us or annex them. So, do they want to pay double the water, or do they want to pay half the water and more in taxes? And I don't know on mathematically which is higher, but there you go.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of unanswered questions here. John?
Yes, Vice Mayor John Chase here. I would like to add my thoughts on this in terms of, I would lean toward annexation as part of this to give us a little bit more involvement and see a development that fits our kind of zoning versus just the unincorporated, whatever's up to the developers likes to do. And given the way that we're growing in this town and how we're going to be expanding, it may be that if we don't annex it now, 5 or 10 years down the road, we're up against it. People want to be annexed and they have road issues, or they have other infrastructure issues because the developer didn't do it to Weaverville standard or any other known standard. And I think that could avoid some headache in the future. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor Chase. Anything else?
Mark Andrews, Town Council. Yeah, sorry. Regarding the water, the requirement to provide water, like I mentioned earlier, it sketched out that our nearest water connection is over a quarter mile away. At what point, I mean, with the requirements to provide water when asked at this point, like, is there any kind of like distance criteria to where, like, I mean, could somebody like on the other side of the French Broad River, like, be like, I want Weaverville water, and I'll pay for the connection, and we have to grant it? Like, is there some point where like it falls outside of the purview of the Weaverville water system?
Councilmember Andrews, I'm going to defer that to either Jennifer Jackson or the, I see him, or our attorney for the answer. My readings of the code doesn't mention any of that.
Michael Frew here. I can only pitch in what I read in the case law when I was researching the topic. When it was talking about feasibility, there was one court case I ran into that said that the question is, it has to be provided if it's economically feasible or feasible from an engineering standpoint. It also went into, so that, that's a pretty wide avenue. I don't know. It depends on how much a developer would want to spend. If it was the town's expense, then I think you would be a matter of saying, we just don't have the budget to do this. And perhaps it would be a matter of showing that it would take too many years for the limited amount of funds that would be coming in for fees to pay itself off. So that there's not a bright line, but the line is inferred to be out there by case law.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. It's just more of a general question. I think I fall in line with this council member Andrews, what John mentioned. I'm leaning more towards in favor of annexation with this, and maybe trying to gain some benefit through that process of annexation with respect to how this property is developed.
If I could add one thing, I agree with Town Attorney Frew. I will add, I do think that we have some reasonableness in if you're gonna do a 10-mile water line, which would be financially not feasible for a contractor, but say that happens, we do have maintenance responsibilities. And to maintain that 10 miles for a limited revenue source, I think could influence whether it is really feasible for the town to take on that extension, that line.
This is Councilman McGuire. I'm going to just let you or go on record say I'm following really with Mr. Chase and Mr. Andrews as well. I think that conditioning the commitment on possible annexation in the future. This is an area that is growing that we know and have actually pinpointed as a favorable area to grow in. A third of a mile of infrastructure that's put on the developer to pay for. This is something that I think that the town can retain control over at a greatly reduced cost, frankly. So I think that that's a good idea.
Yes, this is
Thank-
Councilwoman Young. I agree with that as well. I think that we should explore annexation, but also explore the burden it's going to be on our current level of service.
Okay, well, everybody ready to take a vote on this? Or do you want further discussion? I guess what I heard is that we're leaning towards doing this to provide the water with the annexation attachment to it. And we need more information to actually make a firm decision in terms of what it's going to cost for the town to implement this type of solution.
My suggestion, Mayor Lawrence, is that a motion could be considered to approve the water conditioned upon annexation. That gets you into it to a situation where you receive the annexation petition with the additional information. We can then do staff reports and get into that process. And if for some reason you get down the road on that and decide not to annex, you can always withdraw that condition. But you've satisfied your water request. You get that answered, and then it places the annexation squarely in your court to decide at a later time.
Yeah.
Thank you. It sounds very reasonable. Mr. Chase?
Yes, John Chase, Vice Mayor. One quick point of clarification. Whether we pick number one or number two, the cost of the water line extension would be on the developer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
I'll go ahead
So
and make
do I hear a
the
motion?
then. Yeah, I'll go ahead. This is Councilman McGuire. I'll make the motion to grant the water commitment request conditioned upon annexation into the town.
All in favor?
We got a roll call vote, Mayor.
Roll.
Thank you. Roll call. Tamara?
There we go. Getting my audio back. All right, so the motion on the floor by Councilmember McGuire, and I'll take the roll call. Mayor Lawrence
Aye.
and Councilmember Barnett
Aye.
and Councilmember Young
Aye.
and Councilmember Nagel
Aye.
and Vice Mayor Chase
Aye.
and Councilmember McGuire
Aye.
and Councilmember Endries.
Aye.
And motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Moving on. We have Angela Reese up again. for on-call engineering services.
Thank you, Mayor. In front of you, you will have an on-call engineering services selection and master agreements. Many cities and towns retain engineering services on an on-call basis. Rates are agreed upon upfront, then specific work orders are developed for each project subject to the terms within the master service agreement. The town of Weaverville released a request for qualifications, an RFQ, for engineering services on October the 7th, 2025. Letters of interest were due on October 24th. The town solicited statements of qualifications from qualified firms or individuals licensed in the state of North Carolina to provide multidisciplinary professional engineering services on an on-call as needed for the town. The selected firms are expected to provide the town with a flexible and effective way to respond to a range of engineering needs with ready multidimensional services as needed. The town received 6 letters of interest and the evaluation committee evaluated all submittals and scored each using criteria outlined in the RFQ. All firms were invited to interview with the evaluation committee. Following the interviews, the 3 firms with the highest ratings were selected as successful firms to be considered for recommendation of award of contracts. As a result of the qualifications-based selection process, the reviewers have determined that Kimley Horn, Terra Firma Design, and 3 Notch Group to be the most qualified. Master service agreements for each have been obtained and they're attached in your packet, which will allow the town to negotiate a scope of work and fee for any such project deemed necessary to provide the multidimensional engineering services to support the project. It is important to note that there is no obligation to provide engineering tasks, and the town can terminate within 30 days notice if necessary. The resolution in your packet is for council to approve the selection of the 3 highest qualified firms and a contract for on-call engineering services with the town of Weaverville. And the action requested is to adopt the proposed resolution, and there's a suggested motion in your packet.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? You guys have gone quiet on me all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Vice Mayor John Chase here. I'll make a motion to move that we approve the project partnership agreement as proposed. Wait a minute, am I reading the wrong one? No.
Page 89, John.
Trying to look at the computer and the paper at the same time. Anyways, I'd like to make that motion.
We have a motion on the floor by Vice Mayor Chase to approve the resolution to select Kimley Horn, Terra Firma Design, and 3 Notch Group as most qualified to enter the master service agreements. And I'll take a roll call on that. Mayor Lawrence,
Aye.
Councilmember Barnett,
Aye.
Councilmember Young,
Aye.
Councilmember Nagel,
Aye.
and Vice Mayor Chase,
Aye.
and Councilmember McGuire,
Aye.
and Councilmember Endries.
Aye.
And the motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much. Moving on is the grant for water system improvement with the Army Corps of Engineers. Is there any discussion about this?
I do have a quick question. This council member McGuire, the $1 million monetary match, I'm trying to articulate it. Can that count as the money we're already committed to providing our water system upgrades? Is the many millions going to be spent? Can that count as the $1 million monetary match?
This is Assistant Town Manager Jennifer Jackson. I've worked on this project kind of from the beginning once we were notified of that. That's a good question. We were originally hoping that this $4 million from the Army Corps could be used on the water system improvements that we have in place right now, the expansion of the plant being the primary one. Unfortunately, the Army Corps does their grants very differently from a lot of other grant sources. They actually want to go in and design and contract and build something. They're the doers. They don't just want to hand over money. And so it was pointed out to us pretty early on that this $4 million could not be used on our existing projects. And therefore, the $1 million match, they really need that to go into their project.
That's new money.
It's new money. But the good news is that this their $4 million, our one and a little bit, and I'll explain that in a second. That actually does what we hope to do with that they're working on is a lot of water line replacements for the downtown area where we have really old water infrastructure, much of which is undersized to today's standards. And so the first part of the project would be to replace those water lines. The other part of the project, which kind of came out of the lessons learned from Helene, we need a redundant water supply south of Reems Creek. And so the second part of this project would be to install a water line extension as a redundant line across Reems Creek. So I will tell you that the $4 million grant, it is an absolute cap. They can't provide any more funding than their $4 million. And I will tell you, I fell victim to sloppy, simple math. And so we have a 25% cost share. And so in order to maximize the $4 million contribution, you're really looking at a $5.3 million project, which means that we have up to $1.3 million just to maximize their cap of $4 million. If we do get over that amount, they're only going to put in their $4 million. If we would then have a decision whether to cap our contribution and de-scope if the bids come in higher, or we would have to look at whether town council wishes us to exceed the I'll say 1.3. So in your packet, I noted a financial budget impact of a simple 1 million. It's actually closer to 1.2, 1.3.
And how much time can that be stretched out?
That's a good question. We did have a fair number of conversations on that. They do need some of the money up front in a fairly quick manner, but they are very I'm told that they are very willing to work with local governments to stretch it out into multiple fiscal years. This is probably a 3 to 4 year project. And so we probably have 3 or 4 fiscal years that we can stretch money in. But they do need, before they enter into contracts, they do need our full contribution for whatever that cost is. They can't, in other words, they can't get out. They won't let us get out. They won't get out ahead of the town's portion of the money coming in, just for their financial protection.
I see.
So, Jennifer, this is Andrew Nagel. I'm looking at, I think it's page 132 in our packet, where you've got provisions of non-federal cost share.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. So if I heard, and those were good questions by Councilmember McGuire, so if we're going to owe them let's use 1.2 because it divides by 4, right? So
or 3.
Yeah, or 300,000 over 4 years. So if they're so you're saying if we gave them a $300,000 check, then they'll spend $1 million. And then when we give them another 300, they'll spend another $1 million. Is, that they're not going to get ahead of it. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that, our minimum is a 25% cost share.
What I understand is that they will be doing this in two separate, they're going to issue two separate contracts on it.
Okay.
And so at whatever point they have received their bids and know how much contract number one is going to cost and know when those payments are going to have to be due, we will need to make sure that our 25% cost share to cover those are in their hands.
Gotcha. Well, and obviously, I think Travis just showed us, I think we have $7 million in the water fund balance or something like that. So we have $7 million in our savings account. And this is a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every dollar, or 4-to-1, for every dollar, they're going to put in 4, something like that, or close to it, right? 25%. So yeah, I think it's good stuff. And we have the money.
The other nice thing about this is that they actually do all of the contracting. They engage the engineers. They do all of the bidding. The contract for the work, the construction contract, will be in the name of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. It will not be. We will not be a contractor on this, which means that really our obligation is just to make sure that we are funding our portion. And that we are adequately describing our specifications, utility needs, so that they get the project engineered like we need it to be, and then making sure that we've got good legal authority through easements or property on which to do the project. But beyond that, it's kind of the reverse of what we normally see, where we do the work and get reimbursed on the back end. We're just writing the check for this one.
This is Councilman Member McGuire again. Is there any concern about just not having control over, that project? I mean, we don't get a vote on what it is or how it's going to be constructed. Can they just decide on their own what they want to put into our little town?
They've worked with us and the Public Works from the very beginning, and we actually gave them the projects that we thought would be most beneficial, including the water line replacement projects that were already on your 10-year capital improvement plan. We felt like that was a pretty safe. We're going to have to do that work anyway, and this got money concentrated and focused in an area that we really needed. Plus, then we added the water line extension across Reeves Creek as a redundant line that we really learned that needs to be in place. We also too, directly to your point though, if at any time town council says this isn't going like we want it to go, and the bids aren't where we want them to be, we can stop. And essentially, they will stop work on it, and whatever they have spent, they get paid for, and then our cost share, their 25% cost share of whatever has been spent is gone, and we get any money back that has not been spent.
I see. And that really was my question. I just was thinking, we go headlong into these projects and we see them go from a budget of 5 million to a budget of 10 million. But we're through the looking glass. We can't turn around. And you'd hate for them to just say, well, we designed it, we put it in place, we implemented the plan, we've given you the 4 million. You're not on the hook for 1.3 anymore. You're definitely on the hook for 5.3 or for 6.3, and now we find ourselves in a real pickle.
We talked a lot about that, and de-scoping was the answer. If the bids come in way higher than any of us expect, we will have to de-scope it, essentially put in less water line or replace less water lines, so that so that we get the project within their budget and our budget.
I do like the idea though of realizing some of this $1.3 million that we'd be on the hook with savings by not having to do the water line replacement that we were already going to do 6 years from now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Jennifer, this is Phil Barnett. Do we have any sense, when we're talking about the redundancy of the line across Reems Creek versus the water line upgrades for Maine, do we have any sense of what the priority project would be between those two?
Hey, Phil, this is Andrew Nagel. I can answer that for Jennifer. Yeah, the priority is the Reeves Creek redundancy, seeing how we were on the south side of that broken main after Helene. We had everybody who lives south would prefer that to be the priority.
I will tell
Sorry,
you,
Jennifer.
hey, I get it. They're both important projects. I will say the one that's going to go first because it's going to be ready quicker will be the downtown water line replacements. And so we have talked some about making sure that the water line extension project is estimated well so that we don't overspend on the water line replacement projects and then not have enough on the redundant line. We have talked about that.
Yeah, no, I echo Andrew's comments. Just on its face, it seems like that redundancy is really great insurance.
Yes. The other, I will say the downtown area, that project is important too, in order to address some undersized lines and allow for sort of the upgrading of new water line infrastructure to better provide fire suppression through more and more effective use of fire hydrants.
Super. Thank you.
I will say, Town Attorney Frew was very instrumental in reviewing this project partnership agreement too. I don't know whether he has any comments that he wishes to talk to you about.
No, Jennifer, you covered it very well. Thanks.
All right, that said, do I hear a motion?
And this would be a motion to approve the project partnership agreement as proposed.
I'll make that motion. This is Councilmember Young.
We need a roll call.
Yes, sir, Mayor. Motion moved by Councilmember Young, and I'll take the roll call now. Mayor Lawrence.
Aye.
And Councilmember Barnett.
Aye.
And Councilmember Young.
Aye.
And Councilmember Nagel.
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Chase.
Aye.
And Councilmember McGuire.
Aye.
And Councilmember Endries.
Aye.
And motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you very much. Okay, is Director Eller still around?
I am, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. And for the purposes of the recording, this is Planning Director Eller speaking, and I will be providing the quarterly report for the Planning Department for the fourth quarter of 2025. As you can see at the top of page 141, the total number of zoning permits issued in October, November, and December of 2025 are 28. Of significance here is the Advent Health campus was permitted on October 8th, 2025. This was following many and several meetings with the town's technical review committee to make sure that both the development ordinances of the town, that conditional district, and other various state requirements were being met for that project. The planning board activity you'll find in both October and November. The planning board touched upon the potential zoning of 10 Silverwood Farm. That is no longer in play, so we can leave that alone at this time. The board also continued its review of residential districts and uses. Manager Harris touched upon this during his manager's report and his reference to the R6 and the R10 zoning district, and town council will be considering those items at a future meeting. The board also reviewed and offered comment on the draft of the update of the comprehensive land use plan. And lastly, in November, the planning board reviewed and offered a positive recommendation on several zoning text amendments related to Session Law 2025-94. In October, the Board of Adjustment held a meeting, and that was specific to a variance application for a front yard setback variance on the property commonly known as 68 Campson Drive. That is within the Fox Layer subdivision, which is just east of the golf course. At the calendar year end, I also like to provide year-over-year comparisons. You'll find that in 2025, we issued a total of 103 zoning permits for various purposes. That holds a pretty steady trend of about 8, 9, 10 years now, where we've eclipsed or been right at 100 zoning permits. And for historical comparison, I always like to keep this one in here. In the year 2014, we issued a total of 53 zoning permits, and that was with the ETJ, or the extraterritorial jurisdiction, which at least doubled the surface area of the land development regulations of the town. That is all I have for you at this time, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Eller?
This is Mark, Councilmember Endries. I just make a comment that Graham, who works for the planning department, has been undertaking a lot of the effort work to update the water system when extensions go in, and he's just doing a great job. He's a really quick study and is really picking up the work really well. So kudos to Graham.
Here, here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Director Eller. Finance Director Dozier.
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. Tonight I have the second quarter report for you from the Finance Department. We are halfway through the current fiscal year. So the chart you're looking at on page 144, these are our major sources of revenue. As of December 31st for the 3 prior years, the current year, and then the final column is a prorated budget. So that's basically just 50% of our budget in that final column there. And what we like to see here, as I've said in the past, we like to see a year-over-year upward trend. And then we like to see that we're close to our budget numbers, and there's no areas of concern looking at this chart here. As Travis just told you, our ad valorem tax and our sales tax make up our biggest sources of revenue in the general fund. Ad valorem, we don't worry too much about, with the county collecting it 99.9% or 99.8%. You can't get much better than that. Sales tax, you might remember, just really grew and grew and grew the years after the pandemic, and then really flattened out. So the last couple of years we have come in slightly under budget on that, but this year it looks like so far we are higher than the previous years and really close to our budget number. So that's good to see. On the next page, 145, these are your expenditures per department. You will see a lot of fluctuation here, mostly due from capital purchases. Some years we have some really big capital purchases, and some years we don't. And then it's all a matter of timing. So you'll see a lot more bars sticking up high from this graph. On pages 146 to 154, following that is our line item detail. This looks a little different than what you've seen in the past. This is our new accounting system that's in place now, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but basically the same information. The revenues are on the first couple pages. and then the expenditures follow. And it's line by line, all the detail, your budgeted number, your year-to-date number, and the remaining balance. So if you want to see all that detail, it's there, available to you. And then on page 155 and 156, these are our two big capital projects we have now for the water. We have one for the water plant expansion and one for the resiliency project. The resiliency are the two generators and the chlorine conversion. I'm required to update you though on those projects quarterly. Even though there's not been a lot of progress on that, we have a little bit of engineering expenses, as we've seen in previous quarters, but not a lot of movement on that. But that's about to change with the resiliency project. We'll have more to touch you on that soon. And then on page 157, we have one grant project fund for the Helene disaster response and recovery. We still, just to update you, if you recall, we received at 1.8 million very early on after the storm in October of 24 for the expedited debris project. We still have not had to return that. They haven't asked for it. We do a 1.2 million of that back to FEMA. They have not finalized that project, so they've not asked for that back. But in the meantime, we've had a lot of other projects close out, received funding on that. So we received approximately 1.1 million from our other projects, not debris projects. So by the time we're going to owe the 1.2 million back, we've closed out enough projects to bring in close to that same amount. And then besides that, just to update you on our accounting software, you might recall, I think it was 2 years ago, we got it in the budget and everything kind of took longer than planned. And then the storm hit. We did finally get it installed and trained, and we are up and running in our new system as of October of this past year. It's got a lot of new features, a lot of things we're excited about. If you've gotten your water bill recently, you'll see there's a new look to it, much more user-friendly, more relevant information. So we are excited about that. And just a reminder for anyone that's not signed up with MyGovHub, we're really encouraging all of our water customers to get signed up on MyGovHub. And if anyone needs help, they can just call Town Hall and we can walk you through that. That is all I have for my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Tanya?
Ms. Ezra, thank you for all your hard work and always such a good report for me. And I appreciate all that you do for our town.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all your effort. Anything else? Thank you, Tanya. Appreciate it. Okay, Community Center Manager DeSerio, are you in the house?
Hello, everybody. Mayor, Town Council. Good evening. Share my screen with you so you can see here. Second quarterly report. All right, we'll start out with the private rentals. So it looks like 44% of our private rentals, usage-wise, are going to be our residents, and 56% are our non-residents. So that brings the total quarter revenue to a little over $10,000. Regarding our community programs, so I say this each quarterly report, but our programs are run completely by volunteers. So these are volunteers that are excited about what they're doing, and we wouldn't be able to have the various programs that we have at the community center without them doing what they do. So we're gracious, we're very grateful to have them, and I'm thankful for what they do for us. Regarding those community programs, some updates for February and early March. We're going to have early voting at the community center, so we're going to be moving a lot of our community programming to the town hall community room. So just want to let people know about that. Many of the movement classes will be relocated to the community room during March and February, or February and early March, rather. And then I'd like to highlight one of the newer programs that we have at the community center. Art Folk WNC is a craft club that meets monthly on Tuesdays in the evening. We have here Jen and Kelly with a friend. They've hung a community mural that they did during Art and Autumn. This is at the community center and actually is relocated right now, but this is one of the works that they've hung within the community center. Next are some paper quilts that they composed during the candlelight stroll, and you can see a little snapshot of them doing their thing at their craft club going on. So it's a wonderful program. So we just want to give them a shout out for what they've been doing. We think they're doing an amazing job. And just glossing over the community events that happened this last quarter. For storytelling, we had Whispers from the Shadows, which was during the Halloween season, veteran storytelling, and then Facing Our History, which was part of the Wilma Dykeman legacy. Artisan Players did a performance called Bloom Off the Rose. And then for our music on the Knoll, we heard from the Laurel Canyon Rangers and Simple Folk. And then community happenings. We finally got the picture hung that was donated by Gail Solomon and Dick Canty. You can see there, they're proudly displaying their work. We got to hang that up during October, I believe. So that was wonderful. So it now resides over at the community center, and we are grateful for them donating that piece. During the holiday season, we had a lot of stuff going on. And one of the great things that was instituted by Jamie Lang was in partnership with the Area Agency on Aging, we coordinated a gift wrapping party. So you can see there, tables set up, and we had basically gifts that were donated from the community and then wrapped by volunteers giving their time. These gifts were then distributed to mainly seniors that were housebound. So it was just a wonderful event. We had hot chocolate, snacks, and some holiday movies playing over the big screen. So it was wonderful. And then just glossing over our town events, we had Veterans Day, Holiday Parade, and then the Weaverville Wonderland. I'll talk about a couple of those. The Holiday Parade recap. We had, of course, our own Grand Marshal, the Doug Jackson, and then we had over 55 parade entries. Of course, we had different categories that people were competing in. The best overall float was Camp Cedar Cliff. Best costumes, Maranatha Baptist Church. Best decorations was the North Buncombe Youth Theater. That was the Willy Wonka Jr. theme. Best holiday spirit was Maggie B's, and the best community spirit was North Buncombe Middle School cheerleaders. And you can see pictures of each of those entries, and of course, Doug Jackson there being driven down the parade on Main Street with his daughter. And then Weaverville Wonderland on Florida Avenue. This happened in conjunction with the WBA Candlelight Stroll. The town provided the decor, heaters, and snowmakers. Tables and chairs were graciously transported from the community center patio via Public Works. And then if you were there, you saw Santa's sleigh, which was also constructed by Public Works. And then we had Will Bloom Books as one of the vendors and the Dry Ridge Museum. You can see some of those pictures here. Lots of snow. That came in really handy. And I think overall it was very well received from the community. Lots of smiling faces from staff and from others. I think that is it. All
Thank you very much, Mike.
You're
Good
very
job.
welcome. Thank you very much,
Appreciate
guys,
it.
for having me.
Very welcome. Is there any further business to come before the council? Hearing none, then we are adjourned.
Oh, Andrew's got a question.
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
yes.
No,
yeah.
I was waving goodbye.
Bye-bye.
I love these little. Thank you, Scotty, for telling me about the flying emojis.
Great.
Yeah, we'll have fun with those.
All right. Is there anything else, guys?
No.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're welcome.
Stop it, Andrew.
Yep. You guys have a safe drive home, okay?